You are listening to the Marriage Clinic Podcast, a podcast on love, marriage, and personal development. Our purpose is to inspire and equip you with knowledge and skills to enable you have lasting and fulfilling relationships. Now your host, Joshua Mulgrew.
Hello, this is the Marriage Clinic Podcast, a podcast about love, marriage, and your personal development. My name is Dr. Joshua Mulgrew, or as I love to tell you, call me Uncle Josh. I'm so glad I'm going to be talking to you today, and we're going to have an absolutely interesting topic. This is the third in the series. But before we do this, I want you to have a bit of a social contract with me. We try to do our best to give you the best of information and the best kind of podcast, and you can help us by sharing this and recommending it to people. So if you could take a moment to like this video or audio, share this video and recommend it to a friend, that would be amazing. So let's go. We've been talking about abuse for the last 2 weeks. And what have we been saying about abuse? It's quite simple. We are trying to understand, we try to understand the different types of abuse, how to identify red flags that show abuse is going on. And today I'm coming to the final part of it where I want to talk to you about how to get away, to exit an abusive relationship. I'm choosing to call it Prison Break. 7 ways to exit an abusive relationship. So if you happen to be in an abusive relationship, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that are going to help you come out of it. If you know a friend who's in an abusive relationship, hey, let's take the time to share this podcast with them to ensure that they can also exit this abusive relationship. The first thing you need to understand is that being in an abusive relationship, some people ask, why don't you just leave? From the outside, when you are observing someone in an abusive relationship, for the sake of making it simple, let's just say the woman is the one who is being abused, because most of the time that's the situation. But it's not always that it is a woman that's being abused. Sometimes it's the man who is being abused. But let's say it's the woman who is being abused, and you are looking at the woman, you are saying you are a beautiful woman, you are an intelligent woman. Why are you staying with a boyfriend who is beating you or a boyfriend who keeps torturing you? The truth is that it is not that easy to walk away from a relationship. It's not that easy to exit an abusive relationship for several reasons. One of the reasons why it's difficult to exit an abusive relationship is because, to a certain extent, it is dangerous. Okay? Sometimes the person feels like, I'm afraid of leaving him, because if I leave him, I don't know what is going to happen to me. He may become violent. He may choose to kill me, as we saw recently when it happened on one of our university campuses, where allegedly the boyfriend went ahead to kill the girl. Sometimes where children are involved, it may be dangerous for the children as well. And sometimes there are concerns of custody. If I leave him, how sure am I that the children are not going to have to live with him? So that also sometimes is what keeps people in an abusive relationship. They don't want to be separated from their children. Sometimes too, it's an issue of isolation. Because understand something, a lot of the time when you are in an abusive relationship, your abuser gradually cuts you off from the friends that you have. So they cut you off from family members, they cut you off from friends, they cut you off from associations. So before you know it, you find yourself in a place where you are isolated. You don't have friends, you don't have family, you don't have anyone you could deal with. Another reason why sometimes it's difficult to exit an abusive relationship is because you go through cycles of violence and peace. So he gets angry, he hits you, he gets angry, he throws something against the wall, and then the next moment they come with chocolates, they come begging you, they come saying, forgive me, I don't know what's going on with me, I want to do better. Other people cannot exit a relationship that is abusive because they don't have the resources. Whether it's a premarital relationship where you are financially dependent on the abuser, or it's a marital relationship where you are dependent on the abuser, if you don't have your own money, how do you leave? If you can't afford to rent a place, if you don't have your own job, if he's the one who takes care of all the bills, how do you turn around and look at your provider and say, I'm leaving? Then there's also the social and the cultural and sometimes the religious pressure, where the pastor says stay a little longer, the family says consider the children and stay, or even if it's a premarital relationship, people tell you that you are lucky that you've got a man like this, and why don't you just try and manage him? There's no perfect man out there. So these are some of the reasons why sometimes it becomes really difficult to exit an abusive relationship. But what you need to remember is that if you stay in the abusive relationship, chances are that you will get injured, you could lose your life. If there are children involved, they are experiencing an abusive household, and it doesn't work out for anyone in the long run. So, for this reason, it's important that you decide to leave. And how do you decide to leave? That's why Uncle Josh is here today. Uncle Josh is going to give you 7 things you should do as you prepare to leave. The first thing you should do is you should find your top 3. I like to call it top 3. Find 3 people you can confide in about the fact that you want to leave. They could be friends, it could be a sister, it could be an auntie, and quietly share with them. 1 to 3 people. If you have at least 1 person, that's great. If you have a cohort of 3 people who understand the difficulties of it, and explain to them, I'm in an abusive relationship. Let's even say it's premarital and he's just your boyfriend. Maybe you don't even live with him, but it's become abusive. You may need to talk to 3 people. A good friend, a cousin, an auntie. This is the situation in the relationship. Please don't judge me. I know there are times it looks like I should have left this relationship, but I'm still here. But now I want to leave, and I want to see if the 3 of you can be my support system to leave. It's difficult to exit if you don't have at least 1 person on your side. Brings me to the second thing. Create an exit plan with a set date. Don't choose to exit out of emotions. Maybe he beat you one day and then you say he slapped you, you saw stars. After seeing the stars, you just get up and say, I'm out. You'll be back soon. So you must decide, I want to exit this relationship. At which date or which time am I going to exit the relationship? Okay? Because if you don't have a clear timeline, you will keep feeling stuck. But if you know that by October, I am leaving for good, it is easier to prepare for something that has a timeline. Or if you're on campus together, you're telling yourself that I'm exiting this relationship on the last day of the semester, and then I have the long break where I can disappear. But if you break up with him and you are in the same class and you break up with him in the middle of the semester, what happens? You have to keep encountering him every day in lectures. So it's important to realize that you need to set a date. So the second thing is you need an exit plan with a date. Brings me to the third thing. Reclaim and secure your important belongings. I was dealing with a scenario where one of the partners wanted to exit, and the person was away and called and said, I've exited. And by the time the person came back to the house, all the person's important documents from passports to certificates and everything had been burnt. That is not a wise way of exiting. If you want to exit, that's why we say set a date, have a plan. And part of the plan is I need to pick up all my important IDs. I need to pick up all my important certificates. I need to have some money. Maybe I need to rent an apartment for myself. All the medications that you need. The important things that you need, you have to reclaim them and secure them. And that's why the first thing I said was that you have to have 1 or 2 people, 1 to 3 people on your side. So you may be giving them these things to keep because you do not have a secure place. So that by the time you are leaving, your driver's license, your passport, your bank books, and every important thing of yours is already packed up. So reclaim and secure all your important belongings. Brings me to number 4. Plan out and block your abuser on all digital platforms. Withdraw access. Change passwords for your email addresses. And I know when you were in love, you probably gave him your email address, you gave him your password to your phone, and all these other things. You begin to take back all those digital codes and keys, change them, and then begin to block him. Block him everywhere, or her everywhere. On Facebook, on WhatsApp, on your phone, put the person on complete call reject. Block access. The 4th thing is you need to block access, because when they start to look for you, that is when they will try to reach you digitally as well. So make sure you are blocking the person everywhere. And that brings me to number 5. Have a safe space. Have a safe space ready. Have your safe space ready. Why does this matter? You often go back because you don't have anywhere to stay or anywhere to go. So you may have negotiated with your 1 to 3 people, can I live with you for the next 3 months as I try to find a place to rent? Or maybe you've rented a place already, but have a safe space that you can disappear to. Number 6, we are nearly there. Where it is necessary, please involve the police. Where it is necessary, please involve the police. You may say, does it matter? Yes, it does. A lot of the time, when someone is abusive, bullies are normally cowards. So if you go to the police station and you lodge a police case after you've left that, I've exited this relationship with so-and-so, especially I can speak for Ghana, and I'm afraid for my life because of ABCD. If you go to our domestic violence unit, they will invite the person, have a conversation with the person, and explain that we need you to stay away. So now it's on record that you've lodged the case. The person knows they have been warned. And a lot of the time, what they will let the person understand is, if anything happens, you are the first person we are picking up. I was dealing with a scenario, and this was a sad scenario. It was a husband who was abusive to a wife with kids. And I told her, after counseling her and handling the counseling sessions and bringing her to the point where she needed to leave, I explained to her that, could you go to the police and lodge a police case? She said, oh, Uncle Josh, are you sure it's necessary? Maybe I should just talk to the family. I was like, no, go and lodge a police case. So she went and she did that. When she finally left him and he went and he got high on things and he was trying to get violent and do ABCD, she called the police. The police came in. The guy was warned and he had to move away. She most likely would have lost her life if the police were not involved. So let us remember that this is not an issue of playing with your life. And sometimes the guy will say things, or the lady will say things, if you leave me, I will kill you and kill myself. Don't take those things lightly. If you leave me out, no, don't take it lightly. Make sure it's recorded and you report it to the police. Which brings me to the final thing. Establish your post-breakup healing habits. Why does it matter? Abusive relationships leave emotional wounds. You need to replace your toxic routines with healing ones to avoid going back. If you don't have routines of what you are going to follow, you will feel lonely and go back to him. You will feel lonely and send him a message in the middle of the night and say, are you sure you can change? You will hear a song that reminds you of him and say, this is our song. But you need to find certain routines to replace the abusive routines you have. What does it mean? You may have to join a choir. You may have to join a reading club. You may have to start a new job. You may need to take on an additional job or start running a night shift. Whatever routine that will break you from the old routine and put you in a new routine is a routine that will be helpful to save you and help you out. My name is Dr. Joshua Mogri. Call me Uncle Josh. This has been the Marriage Clinic podcast. Today, I've been giving you 7 key ways you can exit an abusive relationship. We'll be back in a few minutes with Ask Uncle Josh. So we are back with Ask Uncle Josh. This one comes from a guy called Henry. Henry says, "Dear Uncle Josh, I've been trying to break up with my girlfriend for the last 3 months, and anytime I start the conversation, she begins to cry, and she will cry for so long, refuse to eat until I say I was joking or I don't want the breakup. I have tried it 3 times and I don't know what to do." It's very simple. Send her a message and block her. Closure is overrated. And when someone realizes that you cannot look them in the face and break up with them, they will do everything to use that as an excuse. Are you leaving me? You can't leave me. What are we going to do? So it's a very simple thing. If you've tried it in the honorable way and she has not gone by it, your simple solution is that send her a message explaining everything you've tried to explain and let her know, after this, I'll be blocking you. I want space, and run for the hills. Crying and threats should not be a reason why you stay in a relationship. If you are convinced you should exit a relationship, and I have a podcast on how to exit a relationship. If you are convinced you should exit a relationship, do that. And if the person is not giving you the chance to do it in a humane way, do it by a text message and run for the hills. So my brother Henry, it's quite simple. Or you could hire me and we will match with some guys and go and say, hey, it's over. I joke. I don't do that. So no one should send me a message, Uncle Josh, break up for me. But basically, do that. Send a message to the person, block the person, do the things you have to do, and move on with your life. Thank you so much for being a part of the Marriage Clinic podcast. It's been good having you, and we will be back for the next episode. God bless. Take care.